Yo, how's it going? Hope you're doing good. It's your boy Smokey Wolf, back with another CarX DRIFT Online tutorial. And in today's video, we're just going to show you how you can make a simple, kind of basic drift livery. A kind of old school grassroots 90s, Fast and Furious kind of style drift livery. So it's not going to be crazy, loads of stuff all over the place. It's just going to be a kind of nice simple design. Couple sponsors here and there, a nice clean looking drift livery. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a visor on the window. So there's already a pre-made vinyl for this, as you just saw me choose this on the first page. Then you want to move it over to the window, make sure you've clicked it so that it appears on just the window, and then open up your extra controls menu and stretch it wide. Don't make it bigger because it will sort of stretch it lengthways as well. Just make it wider so that it fits the window, and then you'll have a nice kind of looking clean visor. So the next thing we're going to do is going to be the kind of main design, and we're going to keep it nice and clean, and all you really need is a cool kind of shape, or it could be flames, it could be a tribal pattern, it could be anything. But for example, I've just taken something that's a kind of square shape that you wouldn't think would work. All I've done is just stretched it out, made it a little bit thinner, and put it across the car. So that's pretty much it. Just a simple one shape like that, and I've got a nice cool looking kind of design, basic kind of livery. And what you can do is you can just duplicate that vinyl and move it a little bit to the left, and it basically creates a cool shadow effect. And then you can change if which one appears on the top. You can change the colors around, and just as simple as that, I'll mirror that with the symmetry onto the other side of the car, and just as simple as that, in one vinyl that we've copied and put a shadow on it, we've got a cool looking simple design. So it really is that easy, to be honest. If you want to make these kind of old school, Fast and Furious looking designs where they've just got a shape or a logo stretched across the side of the car and then a couple sponsors here and there, it's just as easy as this. Find a nice shape, put it across the side of the car, maybe combine a few shapes together, so I've got that kind of cool looking Japanese striped kind of thing in the dark green blue, and then I'm going to put a contrasting color, which for blue would be something like yellow or orange, and then I'm going to do something else just to spice it up a little bit. I think that one shape on its own doesn't really look good enough, and so I'll add this thing on the side. I didn't want it to be too bright, like a bright yellow, so what I've done is I've made it a chrome kind of light yellow, and it doesn't stand out too much, but it adds a nice little bit of something to that one shape that we've already put there. And to be honest, that's it. You can leave that now and have that as your sort of basic livery, and just now slap a load of sponsors all over it, and that's pretty much it. You have a cool kind of Fast and Furious old school drift style looking livery. It looks nice and clean, and yeah, now you would just basically put your sponsors on it and still mess around with it. I'm going to do a lot more to this in the video. I'm going to tint the windows, put window sponsors, add a little bit more to the kind of logo design or the shape, the livery shape. But yeah, that's the main basic stuff done already. What you can do now is find a nice big sponsor. As you see, the one I've just used kind of didn't have any background to it, so you couldn't read the letters very well. So what I'm going to do now is choose a sponsor that's got a black background, and so you'll actually be able to see this stand out against the kind of tribal kind of striped pattern we've got going on. And so to make this kind of style of drift livery that we're doing, a kind of old school 90s Fast and Furious clean looking style, all it really consists of is a nice little color scheme. So I'm going for white and the kind of dark green, dark blue. So yeah, you get your shape or your kind of tribal or flames pattern or whatever it is, you stretch that across the side of the car, and then you want to kind of do one big logo or one big sponsor. And as you can see here, I've chosen this one with the black background that stands out against the kind of tribal shape I've got going on. And you can either keep it horizontal straight, or you can tilt it and rotate it to the kind of angle that you've got your shape, your tribal pattern or whatever going on. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to make a small sponsor in black, and then I'm going to mirror it onto one side, and then I'm going to duplicate it across the side skirts, and then it just basically makes it a very fast way of adding sponsors. So all you've got to do then is go onto the sponsors that you've copied over, and then click the left trigger or the extra options menu, and then click replace vinyl. So basically I've just copied a vinyl the same shape across the side skirts, and then it will give you 4 of the same, obviously, sponsor, and then you just highlight each sponsor and replace them, and it will basically keep the same sort of shape and colour, and it just allows you to make, you know, a line of sponsors really quickly. So as simple as that, we've made a side skirt full of sponsors, and they're on both sides. And like for now, I'd say I'm pretty happy with how the sides look. I'm going to go and add some stuff later in the video, but now I would probably move on to like the front and top of the car, so you can, it's all preference really. You could add sponsors onto the bonnet, you know, onto the hood, or onto wherever you want really. I'm going to keep the kind of top side of the car quite clean, so I'm just going to add a sponsor to the visor and then a cool little shape and mirror that shape on the visor, so it's, you know, on either side of the visor. And I'd say the visor's done and the top half of the car's done. I want to keep it kind of the main white colour. I don't really want to add too many sponsors. I'm going to add a Greddy sponsor onto the front bumper. Obviously it'd be cool if you could add it onto, you know, the radiator, but you can't, so best you can do is somewhere on the front bumper. And that's it. I'll probably leave that, so I won't do anything else to the front bumper or the top side of the car, apart from the rear window, which we'll do in a minute. So yeah, I mean, already we've got a pretty nice design. You could be happy with that and leave it there, but we're still going to do quite a bit to it. So while you're going through your design, you might think like, oh, I'm going to change the colour of the wheels now just to suit my design, and I think this design would be suited quite well if I changed the front wheel only to the kind of dark blue green that I've got as the theme of the design. And now it looks like, you know, the kind of pattern or tribal shape thing that we've got going across the side. It looks like it kind of stretches away from the wheel, so it's, you know, we've got a cool kind of shape starting at the wheel and then it stretches backwards, so it kind of gives a nice flow and a nice look to the design. And then I'm just going to continue adding a couple sponsors here and there. I'm not going to go crazy with it because the kind of style, the simple, clean, you know, 90s drift livery that I'm going for, they didn't really have sponsors plastered over everything, or they do sometimes, but for me, I'm going to try and keep it clean and as minimal sponsors as possible. I'm going to add something to the rear window now. I kind of use this sponsor here a lot for windows. I like putting a nice sponsor at the top of the window, but I don't like covering the windows completely. Again, just totally personal preference. You might like completely covering the windows over, but for me, I normally just do something on the top of the window, and then I might do a couple of little sponsors or shapes on the sides of the window and stuff like that. So I'm not going to do much. I'll probably just leave it there. And then as you're going along, if there's any kind of big open spaces that you think, oh, I could do with something there, there's a bit of dead empty space. Like for me, I think the kind of side of the front bumper, I think is a little bit too white. There's too much white going on the car, so I'm just going to add a little cool sponsor there on the front of the bumper. And then just to give it a little bit of a more breakup of the white, I like the kind of mostly white design with the green and blue kind of highlights and shapes and sponsors and stuff. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tint the rear windows, or the rear side windows, and the best way I've found to do this, like the most reliable way, is to choose a triangle vinyl like I've done, and then stretch it, you know, lengthways and width, so that it fits the window but doesn't go onto any other windows, and then obviously just make it so that it only appears in that window. And then what you can also do is change the opacity, as what I was just doing there, and it basically means how see-through is it. So I've made it sort of halfway, so it's kind of a faded tinted window that you can still see through. And to be honest, I mean, you could leave it there. You could say, I'm happy with that, that's enough. I want a kind of nice, clean, simple looking drift livery. But as you can see here, I'm just messing around with stuff and seeing what it looks like. You could add like a shape or a design onto the roof. You could add more sponsors. You could put sponsors all over the hood. You could make a custom number plate. You could do so much more to this, but to be honest, I'm pretty happy with how it is. I think it looks kind of clean, it looks nice, there's not too much going on. And yeah, another top tip is save frequently. As you can see throughout this video, I've saved quite a lot. Make sure you do that, because otherwise if your Xbox or something turns off, you'll lose everything you've done if you don't keep saving it. And again, here I am, I'm just messing about, seeing what other stuff I can add to this. I could make a camo hood, I could add a custom number plate. There's so much stuff you can do. It just kind of depends how far you want to go with it, what sort of style you're going for your drift livery. Are you going for a replica that looks like real life and you want to have a number plate? Are you going for a kind of Fast and Furious old school style? It's totally up to you. You can do as little as you want or as much as you want, and this is just a kind of simple livery, but you could go so much further. And all I'm doing now is I'm just adding a couple highlights, so I'm just choosing a kind of faded shape. Here we've got some kind of circle patterns that are also faded, and what I've done is I've just made that a nice contrasting colour to the blue, so a yellow that stands out, and then I've moved that vinyl shape all the way to the bottom of the list so that it appears behind everything. So as you could see at the start, the yellow was in front, now it's behind, and I've got a kind of yellow and orange highlight behind the sponsor that kind of just makes everything pop a little bit and kind of stand out a bit more. And then from there I'm just gonna see how I like everything, maybe chuck a few more sponsors on the windows here and there, but to be honest, I'm quite happy with that. I think I'm gonna leave it there. I don't really want to do too much more. I think adding more stuff to this livery might ruin it. So from there, what you can also do is you can go back and go to your body mods now and mess around with that. I could take the hood off, I could remove bumpers, I can remove side skirts, I can, you know, like once you've finished your livery and saved it, you can always go back, change your body parts, you can change the colors in the design editor. I could change the main paint color of the car. Once you've finished with it, you can still always go back and completely change it up, and it's really quick to do. And to be honest, that's it, that's everything. That's how to make a simple drift livery. I hope that's helped you. If it has, drop a like. If you've got any questions, drop them in the comments and I will get back to you. And if you like this sort of content, CarX drift racing tutorials on liveries, drift tunes, how to drift on a wheel, all that sort of stuff, subscribe to see more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Peace.